Good morning and welcome to the upper deck. I'm Lynn. Next to me is Sierra. And we have a boatload of things to talk about. It's been a hot week, and we got a lot to break down. So why don't we just get right to it? So let's start with what's going on in the news this week. So much going on in the news this week. We might stay in this category for a minute. So Cashman has been making moves since the GM meeting and in conversations with agents from about other players. And I also read that Hal hasn't given Cashman a hard cap yet. That's per Cashman. And currently the CBT is now 281 million, threshold being 304 million. So I'm not so good with the math and the numbers, but apparently there's a rumor or Cashman is alluding to the fact that Hal's wallet might have gotten, an overhaul and is a little bit wider this time around. I'm not sure I'm buying it. All right, so why don't we just break down all the things? So we got back 3 people that I think there's consent. There should be some consensus on bringing back. We got Yarbrough back. We got Oswaldo back, and we got Schmidt back. So let's start with Yarbrough. You glad about that, Sierra?
I don't know. At first I was like, oh, that's not a bad signing. It's not a bad deal. But I feel like it's going to come back and bite us in the ass because it always does. That's how I feel. I think they should have just cleaned house with a lot of the guys. I mean, they kind of did when we get further into it, but I think he should have just went with them, if I'm being honest with you. I hope it doesn't bite us in the ass. But, New York Yankees and pitching, they just don't go well together.
Well, you know who agrees with you? Healing Men's Hearts does. He's saying we'll be lucky to win 82. Really? 82? I know I say manage your expectations a lot, but even that, I'm not even going that low. And good morning, by the way. And so I don't know. I'm a Yarbrough fan. I think that he came through for us even in the starting rotation when needed and did a good job with it. And there's going to be some potential needs that we'll be talking about a little bit later on with the starting lineup. So starting rotation rather. So I'm not entirely mad about that. I think the world knows by now because the world listens to the show, obviously. So not exaggerating much. So not like me. Waldo's back, and I'm probably the happiest of this pair. Since my partner is laughing her ass off already. But listen, at least you could say that Waldo is a better both-sided player than we had in McMahon last season. That's not a stretch, is it? And he really was, just before that injury, coming more into his own. And so I haven't seen anybody on Twitter mad at Cabrera being back. But, I'm going to let my partner be the one person. Go ahead, Ciara.
So listen, do I like Oswaldo Cabrera as a person? Yeah, absolutely. I think he is the type of player that little kids should look up to. I love the fact that he brings all of the gloves to spring training, all of the gloves to batting, like to the little practices or whatever. He's always prepared and he wants to learn more. He wants to do well. However, I really feel like we've seen that ceiling for Cabrera already. And guys, we talk about defense so much, and that's why we get stuck with Brian McMahon, unfortunately. Unfortunately, we're stuck with that guy, and that just makes me want to puke, but that's a whole other conversation. If you look at the errors from third base last year from the New York Yankees, Oswaldo Cabrera, who played, a month, led the team in errors at third base. So he can't be sending his ball via U.S. airmail over the first base. Like, that can't happen, especially when we don't even know who's playing first base this year. I don't know. I personally don't like it. I think Cabrera should have been in a trade package or been like, I don't like it.
Okay, well, my counterpoint to that is I hear what you're saying about third base, but we all need to remember that Waldo was the utility guy for a long time before he had to learn third base. And so he'll bring value no matter what, because I don't disagree. If we get someone whose name is not Bregman at third, there I am, so giving my opinion early on. Then that makes total sense. But
here's my only pushback to that, though. So we could have a Med Rosario moving forward. When it comes to utility guys, would you rather have a Med Rosario or Oswaldo Cabrera?
Oh, Sierra, come on. You know the answer to that. I remind me of the speed difference between Rosario and Cabrera.
You're going to have to make me pull up Baseball Savant. Hold on.
Because I think Cabrera was more than serviceable in the outfield and infield when he needed to be. No, he didn't pitch like IKF did. But he, when IKF left, he was right there filling it in. So we haven't really seen that from Rosario because Rosario has been,
sprint speed. Waldo is listed as 26.5 and Rosario is 27.5. So he's about a whole second faster.
A whole second?
Yeah.
No way. Okay.
I mean, we're comparing potatoes to potatoes here, but like,
yeah.
Rosario, I just think he matches left-handed pitching. I'm still frustrated that the Yankees did not utilize Rosario more after getting him last season, right? Like trading for him and then not utilizing him, that still makes me mad. But I personally, I know you love Waldo, so I will let you have your Waldo, but I just personally think Rosario is the better option as the utility guy.
Okay, and I'll throw you a bone and say that Cabrera is coming back from an ankle injury, and we have to be cautious. Oh, don't give me that smug little. This is hard for me. So, okay. But he's back, and one person and the rest of the Twitter sphere, except for Sierra, are okay with it. Now, let's talk about Clark Schmidt.
This one breaks my heart because I am the biggest Clark Schmidt fan. I love Clark Schmidt. I have a signed Clark Schmidt card. I've been a huge Clark Schmidt fan since the beginning, but this is his second Tommy John surgery. That is concerning to me. We're not getting him back until at least July. What is he going to look like when he returns? Like,
if he returns,
yeah, I'm very nervous about this.
Yeah, and I agree. We're back on track. I totally agree with you there. Before we go into a topic that I know is going to take quite a while, let me just say hi to FJ, Healing Men's Hearts, Dev, Uncle Tabs is in the house, Jonathan, Jordan, and we got Ambio, Acevedo, and we got Jordan. Good morning. So the Grish is back. Oh, how are we feeling?
Listen, you and I talked all last season about how Grisham was good for the 2025 New York Yankees. The Yankees, excuse my French, fucked around and found out when they gave him a QO. I'm sorry. Grisham was at his highest peak in 2025. You do not know if it is sustainable in 2026. With that being said, he's like the fourth or fifth highest paid player on the roster going into 2026. Trent freaking Grisham, guys. Like, come on. Let's be real here. This is the first and only season that the guy has showed that he can do what he did. So again, I don't know if it's sustainable. Secondly, the outfield is so crowded. It's so disgustingly crowded. You have Aaron Judge, who's not leaving right field, as he should not. That's the captain. That's the MVP. That is the man who makes us the money. You have Jason Dominguez. What the hell are you doing with Jason Dominguez? He's Is he playing left field? Is he being traded? What are you doing? We've been hearing about this kid since he was 16 years old, but we don't know what the Yankees are doing with him. You have Spencer Jones, who, listen, he's not this old, but I feel like he's almost 30 and he's just rotting away in AAA, who also had his best season in 2025. So you either have to use him or trade him, right? Like you have to do something with him. And then there's the whole conversation of, is Cody Bellinger returning to the New York Yankees? Right. I don't see how having 75 outfielders is the answer for the New York Yankees when we need pitching. Your catcher sucks. Your shortstop sucks. Your first baseman isn't a first baseman. Like, why are we re-signing outfielders? But that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah. And you're checking all of my boxes off, except, you know, I think that, and everyone, I think most people, at least, I should stop saying everyone all the time, thinks that, you know, he was lightning in a bottle this past season and that we won't see that again. Yeah. I'm not so sure. I had to remind myself that he's not as old as his mustache makes him look. And, you know, I think maybe perhaps he found his groove again, and, you know, wearing the pinstripes, you know, was a good move for him. But that money went higher than it should have. And everyone in the chat's agreeing with you.
He went from $5 million to $22 million. I can't even talk. $5 million to $22 million overnight. Like, that is a big jump in payroll for this guy. Like, that's a big jump in contract. They didn't have to give him a QO. If they wanted to re-sign him, they could have waited until after that period and then offered him a contract. Like, it did not have to be $22 million. Like, that is
And so the only saving grace would be if they already know that they're going to use Dominguez and Jones in a trading deal. That is the only saving grace, because it, you know, and Ciara, you and I have both said it on this show over and over and over again. We got to stop with the friggin' hugging our prospects. And so let them go, let them fly free, and not be another Pereira Peraza scenario. So, okay.
I have to pull up this comment because I'm not hating on anybody else's show. It's interesting to me that there are people out there who think that getting Grisham at $22 million is a steal and better than signing Cody Bellinger.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for the guys at 161 River Ave. But I agree that that's really not the take to have here on this show.
I think Sportrack had Grisham listed at like $9 million. Like, how do you go from $9 million to $22 million? Like, that is a huge difference. Like, 5 to 9, okay, that, you know, inflation, whatever, blah, blah, blah. After his season, that makes sense. $22 million, especially when we all know, regardless of what Cashman is saying, they are not going over that 304. They're not going to.
Oh, no.
So, all right. Yeah, that's how I just think it's insane. Trent Grisham better be a freaking MVP in 2026, or I'm going to complain about it at every turn.
Yep. If not, hunt him down and stalk him until you find him. Yeah, and the thing is, I'm not even confident that we'll get to the $304 million. But we'll see what happens, and that's a good chunk of change that could have been saved. I get it. And maybe they were a little high because he was so consistent at a time when others weren't, and we tanked in the postseason like we always do, and, you know, specifically on the defensive end of things. So I guess they, you know, that's why I'm really hoping, and it's optimistic and foolish, that they're going to do right by Dominguez and Jones and already have something in the work that will be, you know, a big lift up and benefit for them. So that's the deal. Everyone in the chat is going on about this. And so let's see what this theory is here. So what do we think about this?
No, I agree. And I'm glad the chat agrees and they don't think I'm crazy, because when I read that Grisham accepted the QO, I was like, oh, that's going to hurt the budget. But okay, here we go. Buckle up. Because the Yankees, you know what? I guarantee you, I'm going to put myself in Cashman's shoes for a second. I guarantee you they thought that Grisham was going to deny the QO because the season he just had, and that they were going to get a draft pick. They were trying to outsmart the system, but they just did a bad job at it.
Yeah, I think the first part of why that was bad is to try to outsmart. He hasn't exactly been the smartest GM in MLB in a myriad of ways. So, what is Uncle Tat's telling you here?
Oh, thanks, Tats.
Look, Tat, she's part of the crew. We're all a little nuts here on Pinstripe Chronicles. All right. So then I think we put Grish to bed here a little bit. So who are we saying goodbye to this week? We're saying goodbye to Michael Arias, Jake Cousins, Scott Efros, Ian Hamilton, and Mark Leiter Jr. Are you crying about any of these, Sierra?
No, I was sending Ian Hamilton to Guantanamo Bay a long time ago.
Yeah, and I know that Leiter Jr., had some good moments, but not enough for me. I was never a fan, not crying a tear.
I think my only thing with Leiter Jr. is that leg injury he had was pretty nasty, and he played through it. I think the Yankees really screwed him there, but I'm not sad to see him go.
Yeah, I just think that overall he was pretty inconsistent and not what we were expecting. Arias, how many times did we see him actually in motion? Cousins, I'm a little bit conflicted about. The rest, Efros and Hamilton, I think those were smart moves to make. And so people are, so let's see. Healing Man's Hearts was that he's surprised that Boone's little darling. Yeah, okay. So maybe then there's other little darlings that will go where they need to go as well.
I'm super happy. No offense to Scott Efros, but I was starting to feel like he didn't exist. Like you're the man that doesn't exist at this point. So to finally see that ghost come off the roster is very nice. And same with Ian Hamilton. Like, I know when he first arrived, he was the shiny new toy. He did good, but he just felt like he was always injured. And he would come back, he would do bad, and then he was injured again. So I just want some consistency in the bullpen. That's all I'm asking for. There's going to be a new bullpen coach this season. There's going to be a whole new bullpen. I want to see a whole new philosophy. Like, let's just new philosophy 2026 and do something different.
So speaking of whole new bullpen, the not new part of it are the folks that were tendered this week. So my guy, Fernando Cruz, is back. So happy about that. We still have Bednar, and we also still have Duvall. And I know that Duvall was not, we weren't, to a man or woman, all that enthusiastic about him for most of the season, but he did show up later in the season. So I'm feeling better about Duvall than I had been. Also tendered in terms of pitching is Jake Bird. So talk about Efros. Like, I hadn't thought about Jake Bird in a minute. So okay. And the rest are obvious. So, Jazz, Luis Gil, Volpe, Caballero are also back, as is Ahmad Rosario. So of that list, what are you liking? What are you metting? What are you upset about?
I like Duvall, Bednar, Bird. I think those were all great acquisitions when they happened. Unfortunately, the 2025 season just was never meant to be. I still personally believe there was a disconnect somewhere in that clubhouse. And I get it. We had 100+ runs on every other team, but we didn't win. We didn't win the games that mattered. We couldn't beat Boston. We couldn't beat Toronto. We got our asses kicked in the playoffs. Toronto went to the freaking World Series and they went 7 games with the Dodgers. Like, what? So 2025 was never meant to be. with that being said, Bird, Bednar, Duval, I think will be great in 2026. Looking forward to actually seeing Bird and seeing what he can do. I agree with Healing Men's Heart. I think he'll take MLJ's place, Mark Leiter Jr. As far as the position players go, I think my feelings on Volpe are very clear. Okay, now that he's injured, this is the perfect time to kick his ass to the curb. And I still blame Derek Jeter because because that stupid picture. Okay, if that picture didn't exist, I don't think we would be having this conversation. Jazz, I mean, whatever. I want some more clutch out of Jazz this season, but I can't really complain. A little bit better defense maybe as well. Rosario, I like him as utility guy. I think he's great as utility guy, but there are still so many holes in my personal opinion on this team. We don't have listen, I like Caballero. We have to see what he can do, but we don't have like your true starting shortstop because Volpe is not that guy. Our catcher sucks, if we're being honest. Ben Rice, I love the guy, but he's not ready to play first base full time. Our third baseman can't hit the ball to save his life. Great defense, can't hit the ball to save his life. So what do we have? We have 17 outfielders and a rotation full of injured starters. So
and a cleared out bullpen.
I wasn't, before I got on this morning, I wasn't feeling so negative, but now that I'm saying this out loud, I'm like, oh wow, like I might crash out.
At the moment, we have 4 guys in the pen. So yeah, and that's counting, Jake Bird. So, and Luis Heel is back. I would not be mad at Heel being sent to the pen. Let's do a Nestor Cortez on him and get him a little bit steadier and worked out. This new bullpen coach that's coming that we're hanging our hat on, maybe can do something because we know friggin' rookie of the year for crying out loud, but nothing like that this time around. And injuries, of course, a huge factor there, but I don't like him in the rotation at the moment. And maybe he could just do some work there and fill in there until we're complete again.
We don't even know what Luis Heel looks like going into this season, right? Because last time we saw him, he was injured again, which, looking back, crystal ball and all, the Yankees should have traded him after he was a rookie of the year candidate. Like that was your perfect time to trade the guy, right? Yeah. And I'm sorry for those of you who are Luis Heel fans, because I don't dislike the guy, but Cam Schlittler is what, in my opinion, what we thought Luis Heel was going to be, right? And now we get a full season of Cam Schlittler. Okay, we've already seen what Will Warren can do, and I know the Yankees are going to run with him. I don't like it. I believe this is the time where the Yankees need to dig into the farm and pull some guys up for the bullpen. You have Harrison Cohen, you have Carlos Lagrange, who can be a starter. You have Brandon Beck. Brandon Beck is not a sexy name, but Brandon Beck can help you in the bullpen. Like, use the farm system if you're not going to make trades, right? Like now is the time to do it, in my opinion.
Yeah. I agree. The bullpen is critical and has been critical and may likely continue to be critical. The earlier we're going to need them. You've got to keep in mind about Cole and Rodon coming back from injuries and not at the beginning of the season, by the way. Rodon is likely for the start of the season, but whenever I see a slash between 2 months, I'm going with the later month. And right now it says April, May. So he and Cole may be coming back at around the same time. So
that leaves you with Fried, Schlittler, and Will Warren to start the season.
Yeah.
Maybe Luis Heel, because again, I don't really know what's going on with Luis Heel. I guess I should probably look into it, but don't really know.
That's what spring training is there for. And maybe I'll look like a stupid person for saying what I just said about let him hang out in the pen for a while. And in no way was that like throwing shade at him. He has things to work out. That was clear. And so don't work that out as the starter is all I would say. But maybe he's working it out now, and he'll look like an ace at spring training again. Come back as that rookie of the year, Heel, and all would be good. So as much as I just said about Spencer Jones and they better do right by him, they added him to the 40-man. So him along with Elmer Rodriguez and Chase Hampton to the 40-man. Are they really going to? Did they add Spencer Jones for strategy reasons? I'm not ruling that out. I don't think it means that he's not going to be a trading piece. But protecting these three from Rule 5 makes sense at the moment. So maybe it's just that, and not ruling out the possibility of any of these guys being traded out as part of a package. What do you think of those three?
I truly believe they were just protecting them from Rule 5 because they were all eligible. As far as Chase Hampton, he was the prospect I was most excited about in 2025. Unfortunately, he ended up having TJ as well. So same thing. He's working back from an injury. So we don't know what that's going to look like if he gets brought up, when he gets brought up, yada, yada. Spencer Jones, listen, I'm going to say this till I'm blue in the face. Either put him on the roster, put his ass in the outfield, or trade him. You're wasting him at this point. And you just signed Trent Grisham. So you just told Jason Dominguez what you truly think about him, if we're being honest here. Because I don't care what anyone else says. Jason Dominguez is a center fielder. Okay? Did he do the work in left field? Absolutely. But let's be honest here. Yankee Stadium left field is not an easy position to play. The kid he should have been our center fielder. Now, we had Cody Bellinger, so it was a really hard conversation last year. Trent Grisham, lightning in a bottle. So I get it. But we've been hearing about Jason Dominguez since he was 16 years old. And now that he's finally here, it's like they're not doing right by him at all. So either trade him, trade Spencer Jones, trade them both. I don't care, but figure it out at this point because you don't need 75 people in the outfield.
Yep, absolutely right. And so I'm going to pivot back to the pen for a minute. So Cashman is purportedly interested in bringing Devin Williams and Luke Weaver back. I'm happy about one of those two. And I don't know that the chat isn't going to come at me for it, but I was not a Devin Williams fan for the majority of the season. Not just because he was not, again, somebody that was, just highlighted as this glorious thing we got, and was anything but his attitude. I don't like tootie-toots. I really just don't. But by the end of the season, both of those things transformed. And we were starting to see, even in his pressers, a more forthcoming, accountable, professionally and polished, guy. So, and his performance was much better in the end, leading into the postseason, especially when we needed it. I'm not mad at Williams coming back, and I think they should take him back.
I am on the same page as you, 100%. Listen, I hated on Devin Williams all season. I said he should have his beard slapped back on, or he should have his beard ripped off and have to earn it back because they changed the policy for Devin Williams, and he just pissed me off. However, second half of the season, Devin Williams, and first half of the season, Devin Williams, we're not the same person. And I think you should listen. He's on Sport Track right now. He's listed to be. He's estimated to receive about $8.6 million. Give him 1 year. He can't do it. Ship him out in 2027. Probably won't be any baseball anyway, if we're being honest. Luke Weaver, I fear he has already run his course, and it's time to move on.
I agree with you on Weaver. As much as I'll miss his character, because he's just a character and funny. And I'll miss those reels with him all the time. But that's no reason to keep him around, for my amusement. I've come to terms with that. So, yeah, I'm good with that. We just got to have a slamming pen. And we never quite got that all at the same time last season. We got it in bits and pieces. I want to start that way and end that way as we raise a trophy in the air. I don't think that's too much to ask.
No, I agree with you, but I honestly think part of the issue with the bullpen last season is you have to look at the injuries of the starters. The bullpen was so mismanaged last year because we had no starting pitching depth outside of Max Fried and Carlos Rodon. When we got Cam Schlittler finally up here, it was, an additional arm, but Will Warren, you never know what you're getting from him. Clark Schmidt went down. Luis Heel ended up going down. Clark and Luis didn't start the season, so our bullpen was mismanaged. It was overused. It was a lot. So if our starting rotation can stay healthy, I really think that goes a long way for your bullpen as well.
So CW, you're on your own there, but I know that you're okay with that. Look at your pals in the chat and take a look around X if you're on it. I think there's pretty much a consensus here that he's worth coming back. It's especially since we don't know what else we could possibly get at this point. But I think he's somebody for a year. What is really the risk when you give Grisham $22 million? What is $8 million going to really cost us in the end? So I just think that's the dealio there. All right, next controversial question. If you had to choose between Belly, Tucker, or Tatis, who are you picking, Sierra?
Listen, I know Jordan's in the chat, so he knows my answer because he listens to me on Twitter Spaces. I love you, Cody Bellinger, but I am choosing Fernando Tatis over everybody every day of the week, twice on Sundays. Okay, I don't think. Listen, I hate Michael Kay for even bringing this scenario up because I do not think it's realistic for the New York Yankees.
Me too.
I am such a Nando fan. I love that guy for multiple reasons, but let's talk about it because if you look at the three of them, he is the youngest of all three. And I know as Yankee fans, we like to look at age. He's 26, Tucker's 28, Belly's 29. He will be turning 30 in the next season.
30.
They all have proven themselves over the years, but my answer, like I said, Nando every day of the week, twice on Sundays. What about you, Lynn?
Wow, you're already at the let's drop some of the syllables in his name phase of things. Nando. Okay, it's Nando. To me, it's Belly versus Tatis. I've had my eye on Tatis for a while, so I 100% get what you're saying. Kyle Tucker, I'm not really in on whatsoever, and Belly, Sierra, I'm totally in on.
I feel like with Tucker, it's like, and I'm a Yankees fan, I'm guilty of it too, but he's like the shiny new toy on the market. He's like the best available, so to speak. Like he is this year's Soto. For that reason and that reason alone, I want to stay away from Tucker. And we talked about Tucker versus Belly in the playoffs and how it was very similar. But I want to throw some numbers out there for everybody who is not sold on Tatis. We're talking about a 2-time Gold Glove winner, 2-time Platinum Glove winner, 2-time Silver Slugger, National League home run leader in 2021, 3-time All-Star, 2-time MLB first team, and a guy who could easily play left field in Yankee Stadium. So I'm just, send them Dominguez and Jones. I don't care. Bring me Fernando Tatis Jr. and I will be a happy camper.
Yeah, and Ambio is saying that younger and cheaper for what you're getting.
26.
Okay, well that does it. We're getting Tatis, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. Why are we even having this conversation? that seals the deal there. Jordan saying she's going to talk about this for the rest of the show now.
Yeah.
Well, we might, maybe there'll be a special exclusive episode Sierra will have about Tatis Jr. when they acquire him. But here's somebody that I do not think will be acquired. And I'm sorry, FJ, I saw your your comment way up above. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not getting Tatsuya Imai. We are just not. East Coast, West Coast. New York has not moved closer to Japan last I checked, and I'm not a geography girl, but I just don't see that happening. I think, the Dodgers don't seem in on him, but the Giants do. That's West Coast last I checked. I just don't think it's realistic. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I don't know where the oceans are. Like, I don't know which ocean is which. I could not tell you. I know there's 7 of them, but I could not name them. With that being said, I do like to live in Delulu land when it comes to my fandom. And I'm gonna play into what FJ is saying here a little bit because we had this conversation. Team Japan is in LA, but there are 2 Japanese players that are going to be available in January: a first baseman and a pitcher. Akamoto, is that his name? I feel like yes. Also Murakami, but I don't really care about him. If the Yankees can somehow sweet talk themselves into getting 2 out of 3 of those Japanese players to join them, that could actually resolve some of the issues they have. Because the one guy can play first and or third if needed, and the other one's a pitcher with like a below 2 ERA. Sorry, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name because I'm going to butcher it. So I need to spend time learning it so that when he does sign with the Yankees, I don't butcher it. If New York Yankee legend Hideki Matsui could help these guys out and convince them to come to the Bronx, I wouldn't hate it because let's face it, the Dodgers don't need any more players. Like, you guys saw what Yamamoto did in the World Series, right? Like, they don't need more help. He was a killer.
This is interesting.
I like that. So that means the Mets are out because they have a Japanese pitcher. That means the Cubs are out because they have a Japanese pitcher. That means the Dodgers are out because they're all Team Japan. So maybe the Giants do have a chance, but also that means that we here in the Bronx also have a chance, and he would be a much cheaper option than any of the other starting pitchers on the market.
Okay, let's erase the tape. I never said it. Yeah, and about the guys you were just talking about, Healing Men's is saying that he doesn't see it happening, despite it being a great immediate fix.
Ooh, Stephen Kwan. Listen, Cleveland is cheap as hell. He's only making like $8.6 million. They can also take Jason Dominguez and Spencer Jones, and I would take him too. If Nando's not available, I will take Stephen Kwan. And you know what? Every time he's at bat, I'm going to say, hit the Kwan, and we're all going to sing it together at Yankee Stadium. But yeah.
So Kwan over Belly?
No. Wait. I want both. I'm saying they can take Grisham. They can not Grisham. Jesus. They can take Dominguez and Spencer Jones and send us Stephen Kwan.
Oh, okay.
He makes $8.6 million. Do you know how cheap that is for what he does?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you're talking like a Belly Kwan kind of thing, or a Kwaninger kind of thing. Yeah. Whatever their married name is going to be. Okay. Got it. I'm all right.
Oh my God. I can just picture it now. Kwan, Belly, Judge. That is the sexiest outfield in all of baseball. Like, as far as their numbers, like that's a sexy outfield. Like, they're going to do damage.
Yeah. How tall? Who's taller? Tatis or Kwan?
I'm pretty sure Tatis.
I'm not going to make you look it up.
I'm pretty sure Tatis is little.
That's why he's so wily, because he's close to the ground. Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
all right.
Okay. Tatis is 6'3". I totally just lied to you. Ugh.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So we're looking at we got the height. We got the.
Oh, Kwan's the short one. He's taller than me, but he's 5'9".
Okay. Yep. So that seals the deal there as far as I'm concerned.
Listen, the chat is just feeding my delusions today, so I love it.
Oh, that's nice. Well, you're making sense, and so they're agreeing with you. And they're still going on. They're still in their feelings about Grish, which I fully expected and understand. But let's move on to what do we need versus who do we want. So Sierra and I were talking before the show, and we're delighted to see how much we agreed this time. So Sierra, why don't you tell them what we think?
So we both agree that we need a first baseman because, let's face it, Ben Rice, as wonderful as he is, the footwork isn't there. He needs a lot of work. Boston just non-tendered Nathaniel Lowe, Gold Glove winner 2 times over Nathaniel Lowe. I think that that's a great option for first base and could be a cheap option. So I know he played for our rival, but who cares at this point, right? He was barely there. With that being said, we also need some pitching. We agree that Michael King is a great option to come back to New York. He's already proven he could do it here. And before he got injured in San Diego, look at what he was doing. God, San Diego has a lot of my favorite players. That's crazy. Look at what he was doing.
Yes.
Here's where things get a little crazy for me personally. clearly my feelings on Austin Wells is very well known at this point. I do not like him as a catcher. I think he sucks. I don't care about his framing, especially when ABS comes to play. His framing isn't going to matter. Jonah Heim is available. Okay? He had according to some Rangers fans that I talked to on Twitter, he had a bad attitude after the Higgy signing, whatever. But I think a change of scenery could be great for Jonah Heim. And I think that's realistic. Now, delusional Sierra wants Adley Rutschman. But listen, that's delusional me. That's never going to happen. But Jonah Heim is available and a great option. Like, bye-bye, Austin Wells. Go have your burritos somewhere else. That's kind of how I feel about it at this point.
Right. And I know a lot of folks are going to be saying, but look at Heim's numbers. They're not stellar on either side of his game, but I don't know. I watched him in the postseason and I didn't hate what I was seeing. And I agree that Rice, maybe just needs more continued reps at first, but I also am hearing that they're still interested in bringing Goldschmidt back, for crying out loud. And it's so ridiculous that it's going to happen. So, then what happens to Rice becomes the question again, which I'm not loving. So, but I did, also have Heim down as well, because I think that he would be a solid get for us.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we agreed on everything. And you didn't mention Bo Bichette.
Oh, well, that's a want. That is a want, not a need. So Bo Bichette, let's have that conversation, because now the rumor is the Yankees are tied to Corey Seager. However, Bo Bichette, he declined his QO for Toronto. I do still see a world where he resigns with Toronto. They are a very competitive team right now, and nobody can disagree with me there. Like, you can't look at what they did in 2025 and tell me that they're not competing. They gave Vladdy his extension in the middle of the season, so they're looking to keep competing. However, that doesn't mean Bo Bichette will necessarily resign there. We have a shortstop who's now injured, who has proven that he's not, what he was all he was cracked up to be. Now is the time to move on from him, right? I like Caballero. I have no beef with Caballero, and if we have him starting in 2026, that's fine. I think he'll be fine. But we all know, Volpe's going to come back in 2026 at some point. Go get us a real shortstop and have Volpe on the bench. Make him earn some playing time. Bo Bichette came back after an injury, and in the World Series looked like he didn't miss any time. Now, there can be the argument of both of them, that there's injuries, whatever, but Corey Seager definitely has a bigger injuries history. And this is about probably 20 games per season. So I don't know if that's necessarily the guy that you want, but Bo Bichette, man, that would be a big move. That would be the big bad Yankees of the prior years. You sign Bo Bichette, you try to make a trade for Kwan or Tatis. That is the Yankees of the past. That is what we want to see. Especially when you have Toronto spending money, you have Boston spending money, you have the freaking New York Mets spending money. Like, all these other teams are starting to spend money, and we're going backwards like we're the Miami Marlins or the Pittsburgh Pirates or the Chicago White Sox of the world. Is that what we really want? Because those teams don't spend money and they don't win anything. Baltimore was competitive for 2 years without spending money, and then I don't know, they did something last year where they forgot to have any pitchers. So let's not end up like those teams. Let's go make some moves.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially since Daddy hasn't like cut off Brian's allowance yet. So, if no hard cap has been placed yet, maybe we could, have the dollar spent on a big deal like Bichette.
I agree with FJ real quick.
I was just about to put that up.
He is worse defensively than Volpe, but he can hit the ball. he can get on base. So I feel like it's one of those things where, and I typically don't do this, but his offense makes up for his bad defense. Whereas Volpe, you're getting both bad defense and bad offense at the same time. You're getting 20 errors, 20 home runs, and that is it from Volpe.
Yeah.
And I can't live with that.
If Bichette is worse than Volpe, then I have concerns, because Volpe sucked on the field this year. Just, major league leading in, for shortstops in errors, was it this past season?
And it was his glove side was injured, not his throwing side.
So, like, what are we even talking about?
I just wanted to throw that out there. I think his injury affected him? Sure, but it was not his throwing arm. Let me be very clear.
And I mean, it wasn't even a big injury. Like, he's not off having, TJ surgery or anything like that. So look, got to put your wants out there. That's what this category is for. Volpe's shown the door. Jazz shown the door. Wells shown the door. Real Muto signed for 1 or 2 year deal. I'm with you, except for Jazz. And Sierra's laughing at me, so I guess you got her.
No, like I think it's interesting how split this fan base is on Jazz. Don't get me wrong. There's days where Jazz frustrates the hell out of me because I'm like, how did you hit 30 home runs? You stole 30 bases, but you're not clutch. Like I'm just asking for more of those clutch moments. Like it can't always be Aaron Judge. It can't always be Stanton. It can't. Belly was pretty good this season, but like it can't be those same 2 people over and over. Other people have to step up. That's all I'm asking.
And FJ's saying he'd rather have Seager over Bichette.
And that's the other thing I think Yankees fans are split right now between Belly and Tucker, Bichette and Seager. If they like Jazz, if they don't like Jazz. So it's interesting because we all kind of like, no one's opinion is wrong, but we all have different wants, and I'm just waiting to see kind of what happens.
Yeah, and we have Healing Man and John the Beagle Dad saying that they don't like his antics and the running of the mouth.
I've been on record to say that's one of the things I love. I love it with Jazz. I love it with Vladdy. I love it with like. There are certain times where I'm like, you probably shouldn't have said that. You probably should shut up. But there are other times I'm like, yes, tell them, Jazz. Tell them how you feel. Tell those stupid Royals fans to shut their mouths.
Exactly. And, I would agree that he has to temper it a little bit. And with another year coming in as a Yankee, hopefully we'll see a little bit more of an intellect when it comes to that. But, stir the pot. We need much more of stirring the pot, throwing out the controversy, getting in the press in any way possible that takes away from the things we don't want to show company. And it just, to me, it shows his passion. He's passionate about this team and how it performs. And he doesn't like do the Judge thing when it comes to that. Now, you want to talk about who frustrates me? It's our captain. It's our captain, at the end of the worst games, talking about, well, yeah, we know we just gotta get back out there tomorrow. And, I'm like, if you are about to say, turn the page, I'm done with you. Because he was sounding so much like Boone.
Oh, so no, he frustrates the hell out of me. I love Aaron Judge. Again, MVP captain. He puts the butts in the seats. I'm so lucky to be able to watch him every single season. Like everybody is. But when he talks to the media, I'm like, oh, you better drop that nice guy stuff because you're making me mad. You can't keep protecting these people. Also, the continuously adding his friends to the roster, that also pisses me off. But I don't have any proof that that's really what's happening, but that it's just what it seems like from an outsider's perspective. Now, I want to run something by everybody. So the Alex versus A-Rod documentary is out, right? I'm loving every second of it. I'm an A-Rod fan, always have been. I will die on that hill that he was the 2009 New York Yankees, right? Like, he did not have a good postseason until 2009, where he literally was the Yankees. With that being said, I think the Yankees need an A-Rod 2009 bad boy attitude on this team. That is what they need. No more of this corporate America, nice guy, suit and tie, we're here to say the right things crap. We need that bad boy, and we need someone who can make that impact. So find us that person and make it happen.
Yeah, and to be fair, we also had it in Jeter. Jeter was the same kind of captain. He certainly didn't lose his temper or rail at the guys in the dugout or any of those things. So it really is time for the pot to keep on being stirred, and not just from Jazz getting all the shade for it. And I think we need a little bit more of that in our secret sauce, because this team needs to wake up alive. It's just it's going to be a big part of what it has been to me, a big part of why we've landed where we've landed since 2009. So that's all I'm going to say about that. And Ambio has had a few things. I just want to mention that because he's said it about 4 times already about the medical staff. Nobody disagrees with you, for crying out loud.
Worst medical staff in baseball.
So agree with you. And he's saying it within the context of you bring Seager, you're gonna need a better medical
you
staff.
didn't have to take a shot at Stanton though. That was not necessary.
At Stanton, yeah, exactly. So no, yeah, I just want to acknowledge that, Ambia, because I know you've been saying it, and sure do wish we'd have Posada in some sort of management role, but he hasn't been interested in it.
Isn't it interesting to you guys though that those core guys who really shaped the Yankees, like in the late 90s, early 2000s, they don't want anything to do with this organization. Does anybody ever sit and think about that? Like we know why Jeter feels the way he does. But Posada's not around, right? Like, where is he at?
Yeah,
Mo's not really around. Pettit's there, but I feel like he could be doing, like, they brought him in as an advisor or whatever, but I didn't see a difference. So I don't know what the point was. Bring my bad boy A-Rod into the clubhouse. Let's do it.
Yep. So we pretty much, between our first 2 segments, covered the rumor mill, but I think the one thing we haven't covered is that that Cardinals are looking to move Arenado and Gray and Brendan Donovan.
They say that every year.
What?
They say that every year.
Yep. So at least they're consistent.
Because I was on the Brendan Donovan train last season, but they didn't move him. And Arenado, same thing. You would think that Goldschmidt being here would attract Arenado, but he has a no trade clause. So unless he says, yeah, send me there, they're not getting rid of him. Sorry, they constantly, every season, they want to move on from these people. Every season. Either do it or shut up.
Exactly. So we're not buying it until you've bought it. All right. So you got some prospect things to talk about, Sierra?
Yeah. So guys, listen. So we've talked about these guys already, kind of, but these are 3 prospects that I think could really help the New York Yankees in 2026. The obvious one here is Spencer Jones, right? Now we talked about it ad nauseum. Re-signing Trent Grisham has kind of like screwed this part, because what the hell do you even do with him now? But going before that happened, Spencer Jones, in my mind, was a big part of 2026. The other 2 are pitchers. LeGrand, right? He could really help that rotation, especially with the injuries coming into the season. You don't know what's going on with Luis Gil. We don't have Clark Schmidt to start. Rodon and Cole need some time to ramp up. And again, Will Warren is a wild card. That said, the last guy, I said it earlier, it's not a sexy name. It's not a guy that I feel like is talked about a lot. Brendan Beck. He could really help eat some innings out of the bullpen. Okay? And he's in your farm system, so you're not spending millions of dollars to get him. It's just plucking him from this roster and plopping him on that one. Bada bing, bada boom.
Tit for tat. I do have to say that Brandon Beck is a sexy name as far as names go. So he has that going for him. I think he's more like, that's more the name of like a soap opera actor or something. But I'm not mad at the name. And if he can do it in the pen, then he's even sexier. So there's that. So let's see. Do we have any Dear Hal and Brian letters to write this week?
I do. I'll keep it short and sweet. So listen. So Dear Hal and Brian, Christmas is in 32 days. I want a big, sexy present under my tree and my stocking stuffed nice with some of the players from my wish list. The end.
Yes. Dear Hal and Brian, I want to, for Christmas, I have been a very good girl, by the way. I have almost eliminated my swear word vocabulary, and I'm still working on it very hard. So I think that for Christmas, pay it in advance and get me that trophy in October 2026. That's really all I want for Christmas. And I don't mind that you have to put it on layaway and give it to me in October. Just make sure you give it to me in October. Love, your friend, Lynn. Um,
Fair enough.
so let's see what we have in the chat. So Healing Men's Heart is saying that Hal Presser is going to be lit.
I didn't realize this was the first time that Hal has been seen publicly since he had facial hair presser. What the hell kind of owner are you?
I have a question because I missed that presser. Did the hem of his pants show his socks, or did it reach the top of his shoes?
Oh no, homeboy was ready for a flood. I don't know. All the money that guy has, like he needs a.
I'm talking about last year.
I'm gonna have Joe Burrow's stylist call Hal Steinbrenner so we can get him a better wardrobe because I don't know what's going on.
I thought I missed a recent presser, and that's why I asked what I asked.
It's coming up. It's the first time that he's been seen since the last one about the facial hair.
Right. And that's why I'm saying, I hope that he got his hem situation figured out. And so let's see. Here's another letter. Dear Hal and Brian, get the fuck out of this organization. Let Jennifer, Sabian, and Manaya take over, or Manaya. And let's see. Here's from Donald. Dear Brian, please send yourself to Alcatraz for the Grisham F up salute chat. Hit the like button for these awesome gals. So the presser is Monday, Healing Men says. So looking forward to that. I am going to be on Fashion Alert to see what's happening there. So as we start to wrap up, I do want to share some breaking news with all of you in the chat, our friends in the chat. You got me, Tats. But really, I was just reading other people's comments. Does that count? I don't think so. But yeah, you're right. There's facts. Anyway, I have some news to share, everybody. It's been a very difficult decision for me to make, but in the category of want versus need, I have a personal one of my own that I need to attend to. As much as I want to be with you every Sunday, and it's been the honor of my life and the most fun I've had, at the bright spot of every week, I'm going to need to step away from the upper deck and just do some adulting, which at my age you would think would be easy, but it is not easy. I don't like adulting, but I do have some other priorities that are a need, not necessarily a want. What I want is to be here with you every Sunday, and it just can't be at this point in time. So stay tuned because the upper deck will be around, and I'm really grateful for that. And speaking of gratitude, I have a list of thank yous here that I just want to share. Uncle Tats, you're in red for a reason, my friend. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be doing what I've been doing for the past 5 years. And that you saw something in me that horrified me, because I don't even like getting pictures taken of me, but you believed in me and threw me at it, and I just did. And here I am today. And for being such a champion of women in baseball, until very recently, this was the only podcast that was completely hosted by women for the past 5 years. And so we blazed a trail together, but that was because of your advocacy, Tats. So really just so grateful for you. And my Pinstripe Chronicles brothers, Donald and Rob, with you for the whole ride so far. Looking forward to still being part of the family with you, because I am not leaving this family. It's like I told them, it's like the mafia. Once you're in, you can't get out. And I don't want to get out. And you will be seeing me co-hosting when these guys need a sub. Maybe if they don't need a sub, maybe I'll be barging in when I can. If Tat still gives me access to the studio. And just kidding, Tats. So, Donald and Rob, you've been great partners. You've helped me out when I've been between co-hosts, and really just appreciate that. Speaking of former co-hosts, Chris Northrop, who created the Upper Deck with me years ago, owe her that gratitude for being my dream partner and making the show get lifted off the air. No, on the air, lifted off into the air. Jonna Perlinger, who many of you know if you're on X, for taking the co-host chair when Chris Northrop had to go do some adulting. And of course, Sierra, who has been Sierra, you have been such a fun, baseball savvy, full of knowledge partner in crime. And so happy to hear more about what the Upper Deck will continue to be when the time is right. So everyone needs to stay tuned for that. And I'm just so grateful that the Upper Deck name will continue as part of the Pinstripe Chronicles channel. So just stay tuned and hang tight about that, guys. And so that comes to you, people in the chat. You're with us every week. Don't think we don't notice. And it has meant the world. And you've made the show so much deeper and more fun and better all the time. So this is only see you later. And you'll see me one way or another because of the Pinstripe Chronicles family. So thank you for your intellect, your humor, your baseball smarts, and for being salty. You know, I love me some salt, and we could always rely on you for that. And all you listeners out there that we don't get to see or hear from, thank you as well for building up this channel. Keep supporting the Pinstripe Chronicles. Tell your friends. It's free to give it for Christmas. Tell them to subscribe. It'll be the best gift you could give them. And so for now, Sierra, thank you. We're signing off, at least for now, one last time together. As always, you'll have a reserved seat right here on the Upper Deck. And let's go Yankees. Have a good day, everybody.